Oh, I guess it would help if I added myself to the stage. You heard? It would help if I added myself to the stage. Hold on, let me see if I can get myself right here. All right, there we go. I'm in the center of the screen. All right, all right, all right. Let's see, we got one, two, Trey. Right, let me see. Almost there, y'all. Almost there. All right, let's get this party started. Buenos días, buenas tardes, buenas noches. No importa dónde te encuentres mientras escuches esto. Bienvenido al programa que deseaba que el juego fuera bueno como el espectáculo de medio tiempo. Es una cosa en blanco y negro con a uno y a varios. Now I can hear somebody saying to me, hey, one, speak Spanish or speak English. And my response to that is, sí, lo hario. Lo hario. Sorry, I said lo hario, lo hario. Anyway, I am one half of the dynamic duo. I am A1. Please remember you can check out every episode of It's a Black and White Thing by going to the podcast app of your choice. Wherever you get the good podcast, search for It's a Black and White Thing. Um, Give us 5 stars, leave a comment, talk to us, we talk back. You can also check us out by going to YouTube, searching for Brains and Bars, uh, hitting the like button, share the content, subscribe, tap the notification bell, tell a friend to tell a friend it's them boys again. And yeah, man, hit us in the comments as well. Talk to us, we talk back. So I am solo dolo for the moment. I may be joined by a guest later. If he pulls up, we will have a conversation about the NBA. If for whatever reason I don't see him, I will I have a backup plan just in case he doesn't pull up. So have a good time, man. We're gonna have a good show. We're gonna talk a little bit about the Super Bowl. We're gonna talk a little bit about the NBA and whatever else is on your mind. Jump in the comments. Like I said, we can have a little dialogue. So without further ado, man, let's get into it. Let's talk about the Super Bowl. All right. So Super Bowl 60 went down this weekend. Patriots versus Seahawks. Seahawks dominated from start to finish. Ended up winning by 29. Scored 29-13. Kenneth Walker III ended up being the Super Bowl MVP, much to the chagrin of like my homie Ricky, who thought that the kicker should have been the Super Bowl MVP. He was not alone in that sentiment. There were lots of people who thought that the kicker should have been the Super Bowl MVP. And I'm like, well, somebody had to get them to that point. And Kenneth Walker III was responsible for a lot of the offense that took place for Seattle in that game. And so to me, he rightfully got MVP. But I want to start off by talking about the Patriots because I think nationally televised games or standalone games, lots of narratives are formed based on that. And I think people, if maybe this was for whatever reason, if you were hiding underneath the rock, maybe you're not a huge football fan, if this was your first time ever being a part of or watching the Patriots play or watching them in the Super Bowl, you might come away thinking that this team is not worth your time, that this team is not very good. And that would be an incorrect assumption. I understand that all the talk about their schedule wasn't tough. They had one of the easiest schedules in the league. I pointed out the fact that their team did not have the toughest path in the playoffs in terms of facing competent quarterback play. They had challenging weather conditions in 2 of their 3 games, which affected the offensive performance. And so I equated this team to the 2021 Cincinnati Bengals. The offense was a lot better for the Bengals, but they just kind of had these little funky games where the offense would sputter at certain points. The defense had incredible turnover luck. The defense played really above its head, over its head, all the way up until the Super Bowl until finally Matthew Stafford was able to put enough plays together. And Aaron Donald, shout out to Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald was able to make enough plays to keep them from winning the Super Bowl. So I want to start there, and I want to give respect to the year that they had. They had an amazing season. The Patriots are about a year or two ahead of schedule. In they set, I think I saw a stat that said they set the record for the greatest 1 year turnaround in the history of the NFL that paralleled the team that mention I made of the Bengals. They're number two. That was their 21 season was the second greatest turnaround in one season in NFL history. And so shout out to the organization. They spent a lot of money, brought in a lot of talent. You think about Milton Williams, Stephon Diggs being some of the biggest names that they brought in there. And so they did a great job of infusing it with talent. You had guys like Christian Gonzalez who were drafted, the Christian Barmore who was drafted to the team. You have Drake May, obviously, right? Kayshawn Booty, Pop Douglas. Like they have a bunch of hand-grown or homegrown talent, I should say. So they're about a year or two ahead of schedule, and they deserve their kudos for, look, you got to beat who's in front of you. Whether the teams you beat are weak or not, you have to win those games. They did what they needed to do. They made it through that playoff slate because winning is partly about it's about the skill, it's about coaching, but it's also about luck. And when that luck lands in front of you, taking care of business. And they did that. So salute to them. All right. But I do want to talk a little bit about Drake May. And I want to see, I am going to be very interested to see how he does if the Patriots make the playoffs next season. So his final playoff stats, 58% completion percentage, 6 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 6.9 yards per attempt. But the thing that was most troubling for me, 7 fumbles lost, 7 fumbles, 4 lost, excuse me. And I think the thing that I can say for Drake May, and it didn't reflect itself so much in the playoff run, but it went through the regular season. And I've talked about this the last couple of times we talked about the NFL. Not screwing up is a superpower. The ability to not throw an interception, to avoid the disastrous fumble, the disastrous interception, or boneheaded play. You don't have to be, I think one of the things that this Super Bowl showed us is that you don't have to be Mahomes or Allen or Lamar or Matthew Stafford, right? You don't have to have out of this world talent in order to lead your team to a Super Bowl, but you just have to be able to make the plays that are available to you and not be a hero. We don't need another hero. We just need to find our way home. Shout out to Tina Turner. And so I think Drake May throughout the regular season, I think, and it didn't show itself in the playoffs as much, but throughout the regular season, he was able to avoid boneheaded mistakes and boneheaded plays. And if he can continue on that trajectory, I think that the Patriots are a team that you're going to have to watch out for years to come. Now, speaking of not screwing up being a superpower, let's talk about Sam Darnold real quick. So Sam Darnold, in the regular season, was a guy who made lots of mistakes. He was very turnover prone. The middle portion of the season, he was close. I think he was close to the league leader in turnovers where that be fumbles, interceptions. And so going into the playoffs, I think the book on Darnold was, will he screw up? Can he make the right plays? Can he do the right things to not negatively impact the team? And he did that throughout his entire playoff run. Not only did he not turn the ball over, only had 1 fumble, but it was recovered by Seattle. But he threw no interceptions and he was sacked only 6 times. Now, I talked about luck being a part of this. Some of that is the 2 teams that he faced, both the Niners and the Rams, had issues generating a pass rush or getting significant pressure on them. In the Super Bowl, the Patriots' plan was, we're just going to blitz him. And I'm pretty sure the Rams probably looked at that and went, man, why didn't we take that tack? Why didn't we try that of just sending straight out blitz and straight out pressure? Because you saw that it was affecting him, right? He did just enough. He wasn't perfect. I think last week we talked about in the show, I trust Sam Darnold. I do not believe Sam Darnold. And listen, at the end of this playoff, at the conclusion of this Super Bowl, I am in the same place on Sam Darnold today as I was going into it. I know a lot of people have said, well, Sam Darnold proved the haters wrong. He proved everyone wrong. And I'm like, did he? Did he really prove people wrong? I don't know if he proved people wrong. I think he just didn't prove people right. Right. I don't I think I need to see another season for Sam Darnold, especially in the playoffs, right? Because the one thing I've said about that Seattle defense is that that Seattle defense is going to play well enough in most games, even when they give up a lot of points. They're going to give the Sam Darnold enough chances to get it right. I think you saw it in the game, the second matchup against the Rams in the regular season. I think you saw it in the AFC, or excuse me, NFC title game. If that defense is good enough, especially in that back end and up front, right? Like I don't want to shortchange, Leonard Williams, Derek Hall, Demarcus Lawrence, and those guys. They are very good up front, but that secondary is so quick, so athletic, and they have length and size that they can make up for a lot of deficiencies. And so, again, congratulations to Sam Darnold. Got polite golf clap. You did your thing. Like, you are a champion, and that can never be taken away from you. But for me, I need to see it again. Like, especially in the playoffs. I think Sam Darnold is stamped when we talk about regular season performance. I don't think we have to necessarily worry about him. He's 28-5 in his last in 2 years as a starter. He's stamped in the regular season. I think I want to see his playoff medal be tested. And outside of that NFC title game, I don't know if it was tested enough. The Niners were done. I mean, as a Niners fan, you heard me say it. That game against Philly was my Super Bowl. Once they won that, I knew what time it was the next week. So I want to see what happens next year with this team. And because I do think they'll make the playoffs again. What does he have for the group? So this next part, I want to play a little game here. Let's talk about over-unders. Looking ahead for the Patriots. The Patriots don't have any really serious free agents that they might lose next year. Their team could return very much intact next year from the team that made it to the Super Bowl. All right. So I want to look at some over-under stuff, though. So I want you guys to tell me, jump in the comments and say Patriots over or Patriots under. I'm going to set the line on the seeding for the Patriots in the AFC next year at 4.5. So if you take the under, that means you think they're going to be either 4 or better, which means they win their division and get a home playoff game. If you take the over, that means you think that they're going to finish 5th or worse, which means missing the playoffs as well as a possibility. All right. So let's take a look. I'm going to look at their schedule here real quick. So their away games against the Bills, the Bears, the Chiefs, the Lions, the Jags, the Chargers, Dolphins, Jets, and Seahawks. So outside of their NFC East schedule, which they're going to have 6 games against those teams, they got to take on the AFC West. They got to take on the NFC West. Let me make sure I got that right. No, NFC North, excuse me. But they also have their 17th game is against the Seahawks. All right, so they have a first-place schedule. They had a 4th-place schedule last year, so the schedule is going to be significantly tougher in 2026. All right, so that's their away schedule. Their home schedule, they got the Bills, they got the Broncos, they got the Packers, Raiders, Dolphins, Vikings, Jets, and Steelers. So if you were to ask me, Patriots over under at 4.5, I'm going to take the under. Think they will win the division again. I just don't think that they're going to be I think they'll be either 3rd or 4th. This isn't an easy schedule. Lions are going to be tough. The Jags, obviously, they won the South. I expect the Chiefs to bounce back, so that's going to be a tough game, and it's going to be on the road. They got to go to Seattle again this year. I wouldn't be surprised if they used that rematch as the opening night matchup in Seattle. Let's see. Obviously, the Bills are going to be tough. I mean, Broncos. I mean, this is a tough schedule. Packers might, depending on when that game happens, maybe Micah Parsons is back. So, yeah, man, I think this is a tough schedule. And so I do think that they'll win the division. I think they're good enough. I think Mike Vrabel's a good enough coach that you have to give them their respect. But I think they're going to finish in the top four, win their division. But I don't think they'll be a two seed. I think there's going to be maybe a Broncos, maybe a Chargers, um, especially if they get to stay. If the Chargers have better injury luck going into 2026, that could be a team that could end up within the one seed. The Texans, if CJ Stroud can figure out what's going on with him, the Jags, like these are all teams that I think could finish ahead, have the potential to finish ahead of the Patriots. Let's jump into the Seahawks. So I put the over under on the Seahawks seating at 2.5. I want to put a little bit of respect on their name because they are the defending champions. But they have some key free agents, and I didn't go through the entire free agent list, but four key free agents for the Seahawks going into next year, where I believe they have 60 million in cap space, so they can make some moves to retain some of this talent on their squad. We got Rashid Shaheed, we got Kenneth Walker III, we got Kobe Bryant and Tariq Woolen, who are four of their major free agents on the roster that they might either have to replace or choose to resign. As far as their schedule, they got the NFC West, Cardinals, Rams, and 49ers, both home and away. But they have to go on the road to face Philly, Washington, Denver, and the Raiders. So they have the AFC West to take on out of conference. And on the home slate, and they play the Panthers on the road. On the home slate, again, they got the NFC West, but they get the Cowboys, the Giants, the Chiefs, the Chargers, the Bears, and again the Patriots. I am going to take the over. I want to take the over. I think that the NFC, for a minute, the AFC has seemed like it was the stronger conference, especially when you think about quarterback play. But when you look at the NFC now, obviously within their division, I got to put some respect on Brock Purdy's name. I have been a skeptic, but Brock Purdy has played some really, really, really good football. So Brock Purdy, shout out to Neff in the building. Brock Purdy, I'll answer that comment in just a second. Has played really good ball. Obviously, Matt Stafford said he's going to come back and play again this year. So that's two of the teams in your division that have really good quarterback play. It remains to be seen what's going to happen with the Cardinals. The Commanders, Jaden Daniels is going to be back, right? You look at the Bears and Caleb, and I'm going to say Caleb Love, Caleb Williams, right? They got Drake May, Dak Prescott's on the schedule, Jackson Dart's going to be on the schedule, Justin Herbert's going to be on the schedule. This is going to be a tough schedule. I am going to say they will not win the division. I think that's going to go to either the Rams. I won't say depending on the health of the 49ers, 49ers could be a tough out. But I'm going to predict as of today in February, the Rams are going to win the NFC West. And so I think that they will end up I think they make the playoffs, but I think they're going to be a wild card team. So I think they'll make the playoffs. I would predict that the Rams and the Niners and the Seahawks all make the playoffs again. I think they will continue their run as the strongest conference in football. And so shout out to Seattle. Shout out to DeMarcus Lawrence, by the way. He came out in the preseason, in the offseason, said, look, I don't think I'll ever win a title in Dallas. I wanted to go to a place where I think I can win a Super Bowl. I believe I can win a Super Bowl. A lot of people clowned him for that statement. I was one of the people who clowned him for that statement. He proved me wrong, man. And so shout out to him believing in himself and going and landing in a great situation for him. Shout out to Mike McDonald. He's going to be a problem for years to come. And yeah, man, it was a good NFL season. I want to go back to this comment real quick, though. Dr. Neff, he said, I thought Diggs and Kayshon Boutte would be the saviors. I think so. As far as the game itself, I think the issue that Drake May ran into in particular, and the line. Drake May was the most sacked quarterback in the league. I believe he had 68 sacks. He was sacked 68 times last year. It was either 68 or 60, one of the two. I think that the pressure from the Seahawks got in his head, right? Everyone made a running joke of Sam Darnold seeing ghosts because he said that against the Patriots. But I do think that the Seahawks made Drake May see ghosts. I think they bought the pressure. They got home quickly and effectively on those first 2 or 3 drives. And I think for the rest of the game, I'm not sure he saw the field in a way that he should have. And when he did, he was late. He was inaccurate because I do think that he was concerned about that pressure. And sacks are important. I don't want to downplay that, but if a quarterback believes that you can just simply pressure him and not necessarily hit him, I think you can get him off his mark. And I think that is what happened. I think that pressure got to him the first 2 or 3 times, and then once we got there, that was it. That was it. He couldn't stay on his mark, and he got in a little bit of trouble. I want to answer this last question. I'm gonna bring my homie to the stage as I answer this last question. Loso,
My guy.
what up
Yo,
with you?
do you need me to move the camera?
Uh,
Or is it
yeah,
good right
turn it.
here?
You might be good, right? You might be good where you at.
Okay, yeah, yeah. If I'm good right there, that's fine.
Yep, yep. Hold on. I went full screen mode, and I didn't mean to do that. I wanted to hide the vertical. There we go. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well, bro. I'm already gearing up for a couple battles, bro. So I had to duck off in Panera Bread and try to write, but you know me. Whenever we get to talk sports, I'm here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So last thing on football, we can jump into the NBA. Jonathan F, you say you
If
think
you need me to chime in, bro, if you need me to chime in and give my expertise take, I will. But go ahead.
he said you think the Chargers gonna be the best team in the AFC West. No, I think that's still the Broncos. I mean, you gotta listen. The champ stat, you gotta beat the champ. To be the champ, you gotta beat the champ. And so the Broncos are the champs of the AFC West. Shout out to the Chiefs. I'm always going to give them the benefit of the doubt because they got Mahomes, and if he is back and ready to
Mhm.
go to start the regular
Yeah.
season, it's always going to be a chance that they
And
they
and
get right back to the top.
and what pick do they have?
They have pick 9.
What's that? Jeremiah Love? Come
Yeah,
on. Hey, what is that? Jeremiah Love?
so we'll see. Every mock draft I've seen has the Saints picking Jeremiah Love. And like there's always one pick outside of like the first pick where it just everyone mocks it and it ends up happening. So Jeremiah can end
Yeah.
up going to the Saints, which I wouldn't be mad about that.
But if Mahomes gets his Jamar Gibbs, if he gets his like three down back, like what are we gonna do, bro? What are you gonna do?
Well, hopefully if they do that, Andy will actually give him the ball. Which again, people make that running joke about Andy not feeding the running backs, but he when he has a dope running back, he feeds them the ball. You can go look this up: LaShawn McCoy, Jamal
Look at
Charles,
Kareem
Ryan
Hunt.
Westbrook, Kareem Hunt. I forget. No, he wasn't there for. He missed some of the Larry Johnson and Priest Holmes era, but when he has a good running back, he feeds them. And so I'm not concerned about whether or not Andy's going to give a good running back the ball. When he has
Yeah.
less than, he don't give him the rock. So let's turn the page. Hit us up. Let us know what you think about the Super Bowl. Jump in the comments, man. Give us your thoughts on the game. Let's turn the page and let's talk a little bit about the NBA because that's what we're here for. So shout out
Dum,
to you
dum,
being in the building for
dum.
that. We are at the halfway point of the season. The All Star game is going to go down this Sunday. Once the All Star game is done, there'll be about 25 to 30 games left in the season. So we wanted to take the time to talk about the NBA at its halfway point. It's been a very
Yeah.
entertaining season. It's been
Yes.
a fun
Yes.
season.
Yes. And
Shout out,
A1, you
yo,
and I have been on this NBA. I don't want to say bandwagon, but we vehemently like go against this notion of like NBA is putting out a bad product right now. It is a good product. And there's entertaining stories. You don't want to cover it, that's fine. And you guys are always, and you've always said, A1 constantly tells us in the group chat, hey, make the NFL pay for giving us bad games when they give us bad games and just don't tune in. Now, granted, I mean, you're going against the biggest corporation in the world, but still, like the NBA is putting out good product. There's good storylines. This whole notion a couple of years ago when we were worried about, oh, what happens when LeBron and Steph leaves? Like, yada, yada, yada. Like, I don't have those worries right now. Now, granted, there's a nostalgic, like, lean towards me where I'm like, ah, man, I am going to be kind of sad to see them go. But as far as like talent and like people who are going to be carrying that torch, is going to be, it's very good right now. And it's going to be very good for years to come. So,
Absolutely. I mean, you look at some of the rookie class that we got right now. I mean, Cooper Flag looks like he's going to be competing for MVPs. VJ
yeah.
Edgecombe looks really good. Derek Queen looks really good. So does Jeremiah Fears down in New Orleans. So there's a lot of young talent in the league that we have to look forward to. And that's not even talking about the potential blockbuster rookie class that's tearing it up in college right now. So
Yeah.
yeah. So let's get into it, man. Let's talk about it. So first off, let's talk about in the first half. Who's been your biggest surprise team in the first half of the season so far?
Okay. Prior to the season, I had this team as potentially the worst roster, not as far as talent. I'm talking about like things where I looked at their roster and said, what moves are you gonna make? What moves are you gonna make? What could you do? Where are you winning? How are you winning games and stuff like that? And I'm gonna be honest, the biggest surprise to me is the Phoenix Suns, bro. Even though they're what are they, 7th seed right now? I don't know. But to me though, they're the biggest surprise for one. And I gotta, bro, I hate it. I did not like this player, but I gotta tip my hat. Dylan Brooks, bro. You you are a baller, bro. And I even was questioning that whole defensive tag that they kind of gave on him. Because I just feel like a lot of guys where you're like just scrappy and you're trash talking and just they just label you that. And he was that heart. I mean, I don't know the heart and soul, but he was like one of the anchors of that Memphis team that was kind of like pushing Golden State, yada yada. But
Absolutely.
man, I did not think that I didn't think he had a bag where he could average 20. But that goes to show you I think every NBA player, this is a different conversation. I think every NBA player, given the green light, because there was a guy, and real quick, there was a guy who was in college and he made it to the G League in Utah, but he told me, he said, bro, it's really just a green light and being comfortable to go ahead and take shots that you normally wouldn't take. And he used Trey Young at Oklahoma. He said, bro, there's about 5 other guards who could have done what Trey Young was doing in Oklahoma, but Trey Young just had the ultimate green light. But so a segue to this, Dylan Brooks finally he gets that green light, especially with Devin Booker out the lineup. And so you see him doing what and he's doing it on both sides and beating good teams and like putting up these numbers. And I'm not gonna lie, the whole and Jalen Green being out of the lineup, to me, I thought that they were gonna be a bottom, like I'm talking about bottom 2 team in the West, bottom 5 seed in the whole, in the whole league. But the fact
Yeah.
that they're in the playoffs right now, if it's the play in, you know what I'm saying? And they can still move up. I think they're right behind Minnesota last time I checked and they're competing every night, every single night, bro. If I was a betting man, I'd be like, I don't know, take the spread on the other side. You know what I'm saying? Yada yada. But bro, I mean, Royce O'Neal has been hooping. Colin Gillespie. I mean, bro, you could chalk him up for 2 threes every night, putting up. And Devin Booker is still doing Devin Booker things. But Dylan Brooks, I think, bro, has been one of the unsung heroes of the NBA this first half, where it's like, whoa, like granted, he's not in no conversation for anything else, but I'm just saying, as far as like winning games, bro, there's been 5 games that I watched that Dylan Brooks won. Like he won
Absolutely.
those games on the Phoenix Suns. So to me, that's the biggest surprise because before the season, I was just like, yo, I don't even know what you do with that roster. I have no idea what you do with that roster.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I mean, he's averaging 21. He's shooting about 35% from three. But let me go back. I want to say, was it almost 50% from two? Make sure I get him right. Make sure I get him right. 44% from two. But like you said, I've seen Dylan Brooks go off in a
Yeah.
cup in a couple of games this year and play really, really good basketball. I agree with you that Phoenix is one of the surprise teams. I think one of my surprise teams that I want to go with, I'm gonna go to the Eastern Conference. So this it's a surprise from this standpoint. I thought they would be a playoff team. I didn't think they could be top three, top two in the East good. And it's the Boston Celtics. When you
Mm.
look at what they did and how much of that roster they turned over, right? They lose Horford. They trade away Porzingis. They trade away Drew. There's no Tatum. That's your starting five. You throw in Jalen Brown, there's your starting five right there. So now they're bringing in four new starters. Mind you, Peyton Pritchard was coming in off the bench from a bench to be a starter, but whole new starting five around Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown ups his play to where we're talking about this guy in the MVP running right now. Peyton Pritchard plays good ball. Neemias Queta, I hope I said his name right.
Hmm.
He's playing, he's giving them quality minutes, right? Anthony Simons, before he got traded, was playing good ball with
Hmm.
them.
Yep.
And so to see them in a space where I think right now they are second, third in the west, third in the east, excuse me. They are tied with the Knicks for the second best record in the East, 5.5 games out of first. Like to see them in this place, and then to think that Tatum might come back this year. He's made incredible recovery from his
Progress.
Achilles
Yeah.
tear. And so, like, they're in a spot where, yeah, listen, Jordan Walsh looks like a NPC from 2K. I'm not gonna hold you. Like, like they start Hugo Gonzalez and Jordan Walsh. They just went and got Nick Vucevic from the Bulls. Shout out to Vucci Mane. But like that's a team that completely surprised me and how well they played and how well
Yeah.
they've adjusted on the fly and gotten themselves into a spot to be a contender in the East. I'm trying to see one more one. Actually, I have two more. Can I throw out my other two?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Shout out to the Raptors. If you watch me talk about them on This Week in the NBA, I've talked about them
Hmm.
being one of the better stories in the East. Brandon Ingram and Scotty Barnes, excuse me,
Yes.
Scotty
Bonds.
Barnes,
Yep.
going to be all stars this weekend. They played incredibly well. Shout out to RJ Barrett. He's a little banged up right now, but that's a team that surprised me. And the other team is the 76ers. When you talk about teams that you thought were going to be trash, we didn't know what
Mm.
was happening with Embiid. Paul George, which rest up, young man. I don't know what you was doing, what you was smoking on, drinking on, whatever, but rest up. He's out for 25 games, but we didn't know what he was going to be. We didn't know VJ Edgecombe was going to be this good.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like we didn't know that they were going to be balling like this. And so to see Tyrese Maxey, one of the top five in scoring in the league, and just to see
Every
him turn
year.
into a star,
Every
he's
year he goes up.
elevated
Every
every
year.
year.
Every
And then
year.
Embiid has started to play like his old self again. This is a team that they could shock. They could shock. Like if they get in a matchup with the Knicks or the Celtics, they have the ability to shock them in
Oh
that
yeah.
first round.
Oh
So
yeah.
yeah,
Oh
those
yeah.
those those are some of the surprise teams for me. Anybody else you got in that surprise list?
No, I think I would. I think I would agree. The Celtics were the only ones that I probably was like. I mean, it's weird when you break it down. I see where the surprise is coming from, but because they have championship pedigree, even with those guys gone, like I mean, Derek White is just. I mean, he played on the Olympic squad, and he was. You got to think about it. We're talking about a guy who Steve Kerr saw and was like, uh, "You're more valuable to us than Jason Tatum." You know what I'm saying? The All NBA Jason Tatum. You know what I'm saying? And so like you have guys on that squad that can do everything. And for me personally, now granted, I won't come out, but I was always one of those people that I was like, I don't know who's better out of Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown. I was never the guy who was just like, yeah, Jason Tatum is like really the real number one. Like I knew, I just always saw Jalen Brown's game, and I was like, oh, he could go get it, he can go do it, he can get it done. He's the number one guy too. He could be the number one guy, and bro, there's certain now. Granted, I didn't think he could do it to the extent that he's done it because I mean, there was a stretch where he was what 30 plus in like I mean, certain amount of games. Like I mean,
Yeah.
he was getting to the cup, bro, and we know he's a two-way player. So I mean, that was the only team where I was kind of like, when I see them, I'm like, oh, but you had the pieces there. I'm looking at squads where I was like, yo, there was just question marks all over. How did you get it done? But yeah, I mean, Toronto's definitely a good option. But yeah, I would agree with you on those.
All right. So if we're going to talk biggest surprises, we got to talk biggest disappointments. Who would fit the billing for you on biggest disappointment? And I feel like we're gonna have the same team.
Yeah, and maybe I mean, if we're on the same page, maybe because we talked about them before. Man, the Orlando Magic. So they're also in the seventh seed, right? Which kind of like it's like, oh, Lowe's, you just praised the seventh seed on the West. Yeah, but here's the thing: the Magic were already a playoff team. Then you bring in Desmond Bain, who was, oh, the missing piece. You just needed some shooting. Here's the thing, bro. The Magic still have not figured out how to utilize Paolo and Franz Wagner on the court at the same time. Like it just hasn't. To me, it hasn't. like this whole fake Rashad Lewis, Hedo Turkoglu type of thing that you got going on. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I'm old enough to remember those big guards because that's what they are. They're these big like forwards, right? Who can get to the cup, who can also shoot, and that's what Rashad Lewis and Hedo Turkoglu was. And they were a big matchup problem for LeBron and Cleveland. That's why LeBron and Cleveland didn't get to the finals that year. But
Yeah.
with these two guys, like it just seems like when they're both on the court, they're in each other's way. And they both can put up 20. And so Wagner's missed the last 9 games. But to me, bro, you have talent. Like, bro, look at somebody like Anthony Black from Arkansas, bro. This is his what, third year over there? I don't know. I don't know what year he's on. I know he's young. Bro, I didn't think he could be this good. And he's young. He's young because he was like 18 when he got drafted. Bro, he's out there doing everything. He's out there doing. If you watch a Magic game, he's all over the floor. He can assist, he can rebound, and he can put the ball in the hoop. And you're looking at him, Desmond Bain. Obviously, you got Paulo, who's supposed to be, to me, he's supposed to be in that conversation. Maybe not with Cade and everybody, but like a tier under. And now I'm having conversations like, are you better than Cooper Flag? Like, are you better than am I wrong for that? Like, am I wrong for that A1 though? Like I just don't know because my thing is like you're to me, I just thought you would have been putting in a performance night in, night out where it's like, oh, you have your team as a 3 seed, which we thought, 3 seed at least, and you were kind of like, in that top 10 MVP conversation. Maybe you're just not who I thought you were. That's just what it is, which is fine. But the Magic as a whole, I just think that you're too talented. You're too many talented players on the squad to not go ahead and Jalen Suggs, bro. Like if you watch them, bro, these guys go at it, and then they're losing games where they should not lose. And so I just think that like I said, I had them as a 3 seed. I had them as a top 3 team in the East, and they're they're gonna be a playing team, bro. If they don't get if they don't turn around.
So last year when they were pushing, was it the Celtics in the first round? It was a competitive series, right? It was a gentleman's sweep, but it was a competitive 5 game series against Boston. They hadn't had shooting for several years, but defensively they had one of the best defenses in the league. And this year it has slipped tremendously, and they've made improvements offensively. Like the offensive rating, they were 27th in the league last year. There's, they've made a slight improvement. They're 21st in offensive rating. Defensively, in points per game, they were first in the league. Now they're 14th. So they have slipped, and some of it has been injuries. But like you said, Paolo's not been the guy that he was advertised to be. He was supposed to be
Yeah.
the number one. He was supposed to be a top 25 player in the league. And when you mention the fact that who would you rather have, Cooper or Paolo, the fact that is like I had to think about it. And I think right now I think you might have to lean Cooper.
Yeah. Yeah. Today. I'm talking
It's
about today. Forget
today.
the future. Today.
Yeah, yeah. And so I think when you look at this team, like I thought Desmond Bain was the missing piece. I think in the group chat, I think we might have thrown out like a quick prediction of who we think is going to the finals. And I picked the Magic. I just
Mm.
thought defensively they were going to be solid. And I thought the addition of Desmond Bain, because Desmond Bain he's not just a 3-point shooter, he can also get his own shot. He can also create some offense for you. And so to see that, that they are, like you said, they were 7th in the East last year. They're 7th in the East right now. They have not improved in the standings from year to year. And I don't know if they're better than the Sixers. I don't know if
Yeah.
they're better than, just a couple of teams who are ahead of
Toronto.
them.
Toronto.
Toronto, Cleveland, right? Like, I don't know if they're better than those squads. And if they face the Knicks, I would say it'll be a competitive 5 game series, but the Knicks will win it in 5.
Yeah.
And that's disappointing. That's very disappointing to me because, like I said, I thought that was a great team. Trying to look and see if there's another squad that I find to be disappointing. Not really. I feel like everybody else has kind of been who they've been, who they're
Yeah.
going to be.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
was trying to
man.
think either.
Nah,
Nobody else.
nah. Nah, the Bucks. I knew the Bucks. I thought the Bucks would be better. I didn't expect them to be as big of a mess.
Yeah. But Giannis has been in
Um,
and out the lineup too, though.
yeah, and Giannis
Yeah,
kind of
he's
getting on my
and
nerves
then
a little
yeah,
bit.
yeah, bro. That whole real quick side note, bro. That whole little Oh, what was it? Greatness doesn't chase, they attract. That's all you've been doing. You've literally been on this like Brett Favre like campaign of like holding your team hostage, which is weird. Both Milwaukee, but like not wanting to do something and then like trying to play this like, oh yeah, there was there's been no, love lost over here in this household. You know what I'm saying? Everything's good. It's like, nah, bro. Like we've been watching this whole it's been the Truman Show, bro. And now granted, I'm not saying Giannis, like you haven't given Milwaukee, more than enough. You've given them a championship, given them an MVP, you've given them great years, you know what I'm saying? All this other stuff. But bro, don't try to play this whole like hero. You are the villain now. You are a villain. Get up out of here.
Man, I'll say this. Giannis, I understand that you want to win championships. I understand you want to compete for championships, and I'm not mad at you for having that desire. But I think you need to stay where you are. Stop all of this. I love her. I love her not things you got going on with the organization. The one thing the Bucks have been willing to do for you is they've been willing to try to go out and make moves to make you happy, to keep you satisfied. They haven't always worked, right? They went and got Drew, they went and got Chris Middleton. That turned out to be a good deal. When that kind of ran its course, they went and got Dame Lillard. They hired Adrian Griffin when he wasn't working, although he was 30 and 13 at the time and he got fired. They fired him. You go get Doc Rivers. That hasn't worked. Like the one thing they have consistently tried to do for you is to go and find talent and put a team around you. You're never going to be loved anywhere else the way Milwaukee's going to love you because you brought them a championship. If you go to Golden State, you're just another sous chef for Steph Curry.
Yeah.
If you go to
Yeah.
Miami, it's Pat Riley. It's in his genius, right? If you go to LA, it's Luca's team. If you go now, Minnesota would be interesting.
It would.
It would be interesting, but I think the charisma of Anthony Edwards, he's always going to be seen as he's going to shine as brightly as you. No
Yeah.
matter so stay in Milwaukee, let those people adore you for the rest of your career, and maybe you get a chance to chase another chip in a couple of years. It's not looking good right now, but if you get traded, you're going to be stripping the team of all the talent. And it's going to
Yeah.
be you and another superstar and three bums. And I don't know in this NBA, when depth is the name of the game, I don't
Mhm.
know if that's enough to get you over the top by having just two
Yeah.
stars.
I do
So yeah,
think though that I do think Giannis is like in a category of like one of three players where like if he moves, that team automatically becomes a contender. I do think that, but I do agree with you at the same time. Like I do think both things can be true. It's like, yo, I do think that depth beats like two superstars, but like Giannis and Curry, I mean, you're gonna give up either Draymond or Jimmy. You're gonna give up some other guys, some future picks. Like, but I think that year and the next year, I do think that they would be a lot more competitive than what they are than both teams. But and even in Minnesota and stuff like that, I think like you would be competitive, but because of how talented Giannis is, at the same time, I agree with you. It's like, what are you gonna do when OKC's playing 10 players in the playoffs? Or somebody else, you know what I'm saying? Like another team.
yeah,
Like you don't know.
yeah, yeah. I mean, look at LA. LA has Luca, LeBron, and a most improved candidate in Austin Reeves, and they're a 5 seed.
Mhm.
Hold on one
Yeah.
second. Sorry. Hopefully you don't lose me here because my phone is ringing. I thought it was my do not disturb was not on. All right.
Uh, yeah.
Um, but yeah, so just stay where you're at, bro. So let's speaking of trade though, that's a good segue. Let's talk quickly about the trade deadline. Who do you think were the biggest winners from the trade deadline?
The biggest winners for the trade. So I already have my trade deadline losers.
Okay, so we can
Um,
start there if you want to.
man, I'm gonna be honest, bro. Golden State, get the hell out of here, bro. And I'm gonna say this: Steph Curry is what 38. How old is Steph
I
Curry?
think so. I think so. I can look it up. He's
Okay,
either 37 or 38.
all right. So he's 37, right? And he is A1. I don't know if you've been watching like when Curry's on, like when he plays. He's having he's having a great year. He's having an All NBA year. You know what I'm saying? Like he would have been starting in the All Star game. Like he's not, bro. When you watch Curry play, you don't. There's never a time you're watching him and you're like, I'm not gonna lie. Like LeBron, obviously, even KD though. as great as KD, like when I'm watching him on Houston, I'm not sure how much of it is the system, but I'm watching him like, that's not KD in OKC or Brooklyn or something. You know what I'm saying? Where he was like, yo, to me, Curry is still Curry because of how he plays, and it's really a lot of it is he's just in better shape than everybody else on the court. I mean, he can run for miles. So when I'm watching that, and Jimmy goes down, you have Draymond, who I don't know what you guys want to do with Draymond. I know you're being very loyal to him. And then the whole Kaminga situation, which to me, I think Kerr has done a disservice to Kaminga. But I mean, that's a conversation for another day of like how they, like, we praise the Warriors for that whole, like, oh, Curry, Clay, and Draymond, homegrown talent, and we built them up from the ground up. Since then what? Then what? You struck gold on Jordan Poole. You got him shipped out, which was stupid because he was a core piece to that championship run. But since then, James Wiseman, you failed. Kaminga, you I don't know if you failed because I think Kaminga's talented, but you dropped the ball on that, and then everybody else is just regular pack of Reggie Millers out there, bro. And Moody, I think is he's good, but like it's just regular stuff out there. And so the trade deadline comes, and you hear all this talk about, oh, Giannis, and then or Laurie Markkinen or Zach Levine. You know what I'm saying? Even that would be bottom low. But then you end up with Chris Stapps, bro, like, who has never panned out to who he's supposed to be. He gets flashes in the pan because on that Celtics team, they were so overloaded with talent. But then you bring him over, and I'm looking at the lineup, and I'm like, what? Like what? Like what's that gonna look like? I don't know. I don't know what's that gonna look like unless Chris Stapps has some like crazy revelation and he turns into somebody else. I just think Golden State, the fact that Curry is playing at a top notch level and he's 37, and you are not trying your hardest to go ahead and say, you know what, bump that. We'll give up 2031, 2032, 2033 post Curry picks, which that will go ahead and attract a lot of teams because they don't care about 2026 and 2027. No, we want them. We want them. We when you're in the mud, those are the picks we want. We'll give up those picks for Curry to show you, hey, we want you to go ahead and win another one and make this exciting. You have not done that, bro. And I just think that you were the biggest losers, bro. There were some candidates out there, and you end up with Chris Stapps. I just don't like it.
I agree. And, Joe Lacob and them have pushed that whole we're light years ahead. If they're truly light years ahead in the offseason, they would trade Steph Curry.
But you know that that's not going to happen.
I understand it's not going to happen, but if all that light years ahead talk, if they were light years ahead, they would have traded Steph probably after the 24 season, if they were truly light years ahead. But if you really want to hold on to that mantle, you are trying to recreate something that is done, right? Like you're trying to find this infusion of talent to go around Steph, and it's not going to happen because you don't have appeasing enough assets. That's the problem. The whole talk of when Giannis was out there of, oh, I forget, I don't know if it was Shams or Wendy who was like, well, the Warriors have the best trade assets out there. And I'm like, and what, Draymond? Like you're talking about, I'm sorry. No, Draymond and a 2031 and Kaminga and Podzimski, that's not that.
Uh,
You talk about Reggie.
yeah, yeah,
And so to me, if the Warriors really want to rebuild, if they really want to build a bridge, pardon the pun, to the next generation, they would put Steph Curry on the auction block in the summer. As soon as the season ends, it says, send me your best offer.
yeah,
Send me your best offer. And that's how you truly rebuild that franchise. You want him to retire a Warrior, but what
yeah.
matters more, him retiring a Warrior or you starting to find a life post Steph? Because if you let him retire, you're done. You
But you
luck
would
into that
agree.
guy.
But you would agree, though, A1, that there's certain players who, as much as if it's a business and you want to go ahead and think about posts, whoever it is, there's certain players where you just kind of give that grace and you're like, we just can't do that with you. And Curry's in that category. Like, you let him decide if he want. Now, if Curry wants to move on, then yeah, do that. But you don't trade a Steph Curry.
I mean, listen, I get it. It's easy for me to play fantasy GM and be like, you need to trade him. It's
That's
another
four.
thing
That's
to,
that's 4 rings, bro.
and we will always be grateful. We will always be
The
grateful
number one.
for your.
Wait, wait, wait. After the Lakers, and you can check this. You get the computer. After the Lakers, who's been the most profitable organization? The Warriors. I mean, Curry's number one in jersey sales. Curry's number. I mean, the TV deals. Like, I just think that like as much as you want to be business savvy and think about you kind of just got to take that L because of all the W's he gave you,
I
or
understand that.
or tell me what you think.
So listen, Neff says let him retire and thank him is what they're going to do. Not the right thing. That's what's going to happen. Listen, how many first round draft picks did Miles Bridges go for? Not Miles Bridges.
Mikel,
Mikael Bridges. Thank you. How many first round
five,
how many
five.
first round picks you think you can get for Steph Curry right now today?
That was, but that was in hindsight they were wrong for giving five first. Come on, bro.
How many first round draft picks did Rudy Gobert go for?
Oh man, how many?
I think four.
Yeah, yeah, you could
If
get,
I
but I mean, no one's gonna disagree on the assets that you could get. But at what point do you say LOM? I'm not excited. LOM, bro. When do you say that? When do you say
with
that?
with Curry,
Or is LOM not a thing in sports?
I mean
Is
it.
loyalty
So
loyalty
certain
over assets? Come on, bro.
certain players have the LOM tag, and Curry is one of them. But I get it. I get why you don't do it. But I'm telling you, bro, I would. You know what I would do? I would go to him in the offseason and say, look, what do you want to do?
It ain't working here. And no, it wouldn't. And you kind of got to tell him like it'll be similar. So I don't know if you kept up with this whole like there was this big couple on TikTok who just got a divorce. Did you
Yes,
see that?
yes,
Okay,
Christy, and
Christy and
Desmond.
Desmond.
Yep.
So reports were that Desmond came to Christy beforehand and was like, Christy, yo, I'm not I'm not in this no more. Like he was upfront before he got caught in the club, before all that stuff, right? Now, granted, anyone would be like, oh, he probably was cheating already before. But anyway, it's similar to that. You kind of got to go to him like, look, we're just not in this no more. It was great while it lasted. Yeah, we got kids, we got rings, and whatever. But like, yo, what is the best way that we can separate and go our separate ways? And we put you in the best situation. We're gonna put because I think Portland and Damian Lillard did well. Hey Lillard, hey
Yeah.
Dame, you even though you gave us no rings, you were putting up great moments over here. You've been loyal to us. This and that. We can't make it work. What can we go ahead? Where can we send you? And we sent you to a championship caliber team. Now, granted, you guys didn't do it. That's on you. But you're saying that they should do that with Curry.
Listen. It's clear that we're in it for the kids, and this is not helping anybody right now. So yes, let's talk about joint custody. Let's work out schedules, co-parenting,
Yeah, yeah.
all of that stuff. Send him someplace else and start the true rebuild. Because if you let him retire and you cash in all the money you can make from him, the farewell tour, all that good stuff, bro, you're done. Like you're back to the '90s Warriors.
Yeah.
It's back to the hood for y'all. The ride is over.
Yeah.
So don't wait until
Yeah.
it's too late. You can get something for him now. Make the
Oh
make
yeah.
the make the make the move. So let me give my trade loser here. And it hurts me to say this because they started the season out 6-1. They were playing exciting basketball. They beat like the Celtics, I think, early on. I know they beat the Cavs early in the season. And I put a tweet out and I said, hey, if y'all are 500 come January 1, 2026, I'm coming to see a game in person. I tweeted at them.
Mm.
The Chicago Bulls, my
Mm.
favorite team, traded away Ayo DeSomo, Kobe White, Vucci Main. I'm, I'm pretty sure I'm missing like three or four other players in there, but those are
Yeah,
kind of the
yeah,
core ones.
yeah. Good
They got
players, really good players, bro.
really good players. They got back like eight guards. Now they ended up cutting some of them. They ended up shipping some other
Yeah,
places.
yeah.
But my thing is, it's like you guys are trying to tank when you have 24 wins. Like you didn't decide to tank when you were like one of the worst teams in the league.
I see. Yeah,
Like you're so far ahead of all the teams who are in the bottom of the standings that you have no shot of catching them.
yeah.
And listen, you didn't trade for like, not they didn't trade for bums either. Like they went and got what's my man who played at Bama who plays really hard. He was a guard for
Oh,
the Hornets.
Colin Sexton. Colin
Colin
Sexton.
Sexton, like Colin Sexton is going to play hard for you every night. Now it may not always end up
Yeah.
well, but he's going to play hard for you every night. The Bulls have 24 wins. The Pacers have 13. You have no shot of ending up with a top 5 lottery odds. Like you're going to end up 10, 11, 12th in the lottery.
Yeah.
You're likely going to, I get it, it's a lot of talent in this draft, potentially that could be really good. But the true franchise altering players are going to be maybe top 8. I'm going to be generous to say top 8. Unless you have some lottery luck, you're not going to move up. And the thing that really bums me out about the Bulls is this. They lost a coin flip with the Dallas Mavericks last year. The Mavericks ended up in the 13th, at either 12th spot, and the Bulls were 13, or the Bulls are 13, 14, one of the two. Had the Bulls won that coin flip, they would have Cooper Flag
Mm.
instead of the Mavericks if they had won that coin flip. So you missed out on Cooper Flag. You look at this draft class, you see how stacked it is, and you go, okay, this team is going to be. They were the Bulls and the Heat are like the annual play-in match, like that's like the play-in invitational,
Always. And the Hawks.
and the Hawks. And
Yeah.
it's just like you just blew this team up. At least you were fun. At least you were interesting. Maybe you weren't a championship caliber team, but now it's just like it's just a bunch of mismatch hodgepodge
Yeah.
pieces playing
Yeah.
out the string, and you have no direction. I don't know where you're going.
Yeah.
And it makes me sad. Like I mean, Dallas obviously is also my other big loser because they traded Luca for, a Panera sandwich. You pick 2 from Panera. You know what I'm
They
saying? And
eventually
so
got. Yeah, because even though I mean, okay, A1. So what do you say to the people like, well, we got Cooper. Do you equate Cooper in that Luca trade?
no, no, because that was your own pick. That
Yeah,
wasn't that wasn't that
but for them, the way they're looking at it is we don't even get those prop. Well, that's the thing though. Your probability wasn't even good though. What was it? 1.5 chance that you were going to get that
yeah.
pick?
Bro, it was out of these world odds for them to get that
Yeah,
pick, and
yeah,
they
yeah,
won it.
yeah.
So I mean, you lucked in the Cooper Flag. That was blind luck.
So
And
don't
so
go ahead. You Maverick fans, don't go and be like, oh yeah, we got rid of Luca, but we got Cooper. Nah.
nah, because that's not what happened. Y'all lucked into Cooper.
Yeah.
So that's my other loser. I think for winners, I'm going to look at the Cavs getting James Harden. So I understand the book on James Harden is that he's when it matters he won't come through, but he doesn't have to.
Which I disagree. I'm one of those. As much as you're a Westbrook apologist. I'm a Harden apologist, and I hate that. But that's we can talk about that whenever you're ready. But go ahead.
Also, hold on. Somebody wants to hold on. The highest draft rise in NBA history. Yes, someone Wyatt Borden. I think he thinks you're his goat. So Wyatt Borden, there's your shout out right there. Your Loso is your goat. Shout out to you, my guy. All right, so Harden, when how many games in his career has he come through in the clutch in the playoffs? Not the regular season. He's an amazing regular season player.
Okay,
You can't.
so
There was that
wait,
one
wait,
game in the
wait.
bubble.
Yeah, but what you're gonna and this is what you guys like to do. You guys like to go ahead and take these game 7 stats, right? My only problem with that though is like when I pull up the stats, I mean his point per average is not terrible. And one, it's a 7 game series, bro. It's a 7 game series. I remember, and here's the thing, I'm also a Curry like stan, but I'm gonna be real. Harden has the most wins out of any player, bro. That's including LeBron against those Warrior runs, bro. Against the Stephen Clay, against the Stephen KD, against Stephen, like all Harden has the most wins against that dynasty. Then, when they were going at it, this is the year that Chris Paul gets hurt. You want to know what we named again? Hey, James Harden, you were up 3-2. Kevin Durant ends up leaving after game 5. You know what I'm saying? You couldn't get it done. When I went and looked at those stats, Curry had that one game. I don't know if you remember where he scored 0 in the first half and he dropped 33 in the second half. Bro, Harden averaged. This is not me. This is nothing else. I'm talking about just average, bro. He averaged like 34, 35 in the first three games in the last two. You know what Curry averaged? Curry averaged 24, but no one talks about it because Curry ended up having a better supporting cast. My only thing is, bro, a lot of those Harden years, especially in the Houston and the Rockets, bro, he was just running into better teams. Yes, he didn't drop. He didn't do what you saw him, them 60-point triple doubles or whatnot, when it quote unquote mattered the most, right? You want to see it in the game seven and close it out. But bro, if he did it game one, two, and three and four, and he's going against all these juggernauts, Clay, KD, and all that stuff, come on, bro. I'm not I like to me, that whole choking stuff, trust me. I understand like he quote unquote disappeared, like he disappeared with Brooklyn and he got hurt. LA, he's like, I mean, Philadelphia, he had a bad, I think it's more so his stain on how he departs from teams. I think that's more of a story than just him not showing up. But I'm talking about, bro, to me, he's been the best offensive player in this generation, bro. In this generation. From the 2010s, he's been the best offensive weapon I've ever seen in the 2010s, bro. And we're in 2026, and I still haven't seen nothing like James Harden. One man show. But I say all that to say, I understand this whole narrative, whatnot. But, bro, like, I mean, you got to think about it, bro. I mean, he was scoring leader, assist leader. Like, we're talking about a guy who was leading the league in scoring and assists. And then we're still putting that narrative on him. Get out of here. I hate the whole little, oh, he's Lamar Jackson. No, he's not. He's not Lamar Jackson, bro.
So I don't deny that James Harden has played really well in the playoffs. I'm not saying that he's a playoff fraud and that he never shows up. However, it does seem like in the biggest moments in his Rockets, that game seven, yes, I think they win that series if Chris Paul doesn't hurt his hamstring.
Yeah, yeah, I do too.
But they were up in the third quarter against the Warriors in that game seven when that 0 for 27 streak of three pointers started.
Yeah,
His tenure in, I mean, he's a shoot. I think the Nets might win the championship if Kevin Durant's foot isn't on the line.
yeah.
The Philly run ends poorly. That game seven where he and Embiid don't show up. The Clippers, I feel like the Clippers. Wait, was he on the Clippers when they made the playoffs? That might be premature. I feel like
Last
that
year,
Kawhi was hurt though. So I mean, I'm not going to necessarily
yes.
hold that against him.
He was Dolo.
All I'm saying is that he is on a team now where he will not be required because Donovan Mitchell is one of the best playoff performers of his era. And so if it is do or die, go home, Donovan Mitchell is going to give you 30, a minimum of 30. And so all they need from Harden is just something. Like, just give us something.
We'll find a way, but we will find a way to be like, oh, Harden. You went 2 for 13. Look at you. You could and let's say Mitchell goes for 30. We'll take the magnifying glass and put it over there. It's like, yo, but you just told me he wasn't required.
But he can't go 2 for 13. You can at least go
But
6 for 13. Like,
but
dang.
what I'm saying is at this stage of his career, isn't it telling that we're still like you got to think about it? These last couple of games, I mean, he's been playing really like what was it, 2 or 3 games with Cleveland so far? Been playing really well, and you know who's actually been benefiting a lot? Jared Allen.
Mister, the lights are too bright.
Yo,
You want to talk
yo,
about somebody who shrinks in the playoffs? The lights were brighter than expected. Hopefully, he can unlock Jared Allen because they're going to need that in the playoffs. I have been on this bandwagon to Evan Mobley in order for the Cavs to truly take the next step forward. He's got to be the one. But if they got Harden who can then unlock Jared, maybe they
nah,
don't need Evan.
nah. I'm gonna be real with you, A1. And I had to look in the mirror and come to grips with this, bro. Evan Mobley, look, bro, we gotta let sometimes we just have to admit we're wrong about certain players. You're just not him. And you know who else is in that range? Chet Holmgren. As the more I watch him, and let me say this, wait. I'm not saying that they're not a second or third option. To me, they're closer to third than like a solid second. But what I'm saying is this: Evan Mobley and Chet, they're gonna finish their careers. The like to me, like their peak, like Bam. And meaning this,
Mm.
they're never gonna average. We keep waiting for all three of those guys to have a season where they average 26 and 12. They're not them. You're not him, buddy. You're not him, and which is fine. Which is fine. But Bam, you're like, bro. Trust me. I watch Bam a lot because whenever I'm putting my parlays in, I think I can lock him in for 20, and here he goes struggling to get 15 and 9, and I'm like, oh, that's who you are. That's my fault though. That is my fault. That's not you, Bam. Why am I getting mad at you, Chet, and Evan Mobley? You guys are all cut from the same cloth. This is my fault for thinking you're Kevin Garnett. You guys are not KG. And I have to be okay with that. And I think you have to be okay with that. So unfortunately, in the playoffs, I'm actually going to be more trustworthy of James Harden than I am Evan Mobley in big times.
I mean, I think James has earned that, right? That he's going to earn the trust. I just, again, when it comes down to it, James, we won't need you to carry us down the stretch. That's what we got Donovan Mitchell for. We just no 2 for 13s. That's all we ask. If you're gonna take 13 shots, hit 6 of them. Hit half of them. That's it. That's it. That's all we're
But
asking.
but unfortunately, if he does have the 2 for 13, it's going to be the storyline on ESPN. It's gonna be the storyline on Twitter. That
So
and
look,
to me that's not fair. It's just like, yo, okay, how many times does something need to be newsworthy for it to not be news anymore?
he's gotta stop. I mean, again, he's in a winner go home situation. We need James Harden to. I'm not saying he got to go
Yeah.
for 30. He's gotta be at least when you talk about why they won. He's at least got to be a part of the equation in some way,
Yeah.
shape, form. Even if it okay, if he goes 2 for 13, he's got to have like 16 assists. Like he's got to bring
and
something
and
else to the
and it can't
table.
be game 7. You do it any other game, but it can't be elimination. That's the thing. It cannot be an elimination game when you go that
I'm just
because they're
saying.
gonna
I'm
kill
just
you.
saying.
I would so actually, you know what? Now thinking about it, I would say my winner because I couldn't think of a winner. Um, Even though one of these moves were before the deadline, I would say the Wizards, bro. I would say the Wizards, and I like Trey Young over there. And here goes another hot take. I'm one of those guys where I don't think, even though, I mean, technically he's getting a little bit more lot because Trey's been out. I didn't think for the last, 5 years that it was a lopsided trade from Luca to Trey. I didn't. Trey got to an Eastern Conference Finals before Luca. Trey was going deeper in the playoffs. Trey was leading the league in total points and total assists before Luca.
Yeah.
So that whole narrative, like, yeah, Luca's playoff stuff was more sexier because he was going against the Clippers, Paul George and Kawhi, and dropping, game winners and stuff. But to me, I didn't think of that. So I think Trey having to start in Washington, who Washington was already a good defensive team. Now here's the thing: you add Anthony Davis now. If like let's and this is all predicated on Anthony being on the floor, but you add Anthony Davis, now they're even going to be a tremendous defensive team. Which to me, the reason why I'm so excited about that is because what is Trey's biggest weakness? Weakness. It's his defense.
Defense.
And
Yeah.
that's defense. And granted, that's not effort. I don't think. I think it's just his size. There's certain players where you're just like, you know what? Yeah, of course. No, that's Curry. I think that's Curry's biggest thing his whole career. You know what I'm saying? It's not effort. You see Curry over there shuffling his feet and contesting shots, but it's like so much he could do. But when you have a great defensive team with Anthony Davis there, I think that that was a good move. And I think the Wizards, you're gonna see them, bro. They're gonna be a playoff team, bro. They're gonna be a playoff team this year.
So I think the thing that's interesting is they're obviously tanking. They have to. They have to. If they end up in the top four of lottery odds, their pick won't fall outside the top eight, which allows them to draft one of these studs in the upcoming draft. So if you look at Trey Young, AD, Alex Sarr, Trey Johnson, Bub Carrington, Keontae. I forget if there's two Keontaes. I think this is Keontae or Keyshawn George. I think Keyshawn
Yeah,
George.
yeah.
So you look
Keontae's
at the
in what,
young
Utah, right?
Utah. Yeah, yep, Utah.
Yeah, yeah.
Keyshawn George. So I think you look at what they have in the young talent and what they've added in this uh with these two stars. Yeah, in the East, I think they have I won't necessarily say I'll say play in potential, right? Because
Yeah.
health is going to be a thing with both
Mhm.
Trey and with AD. But
AD.
AD, he doesn't have to play center. That's what Alex Starr is for. So he doesn't have to worry about playing against the five because that's what he doesn't like to do. If he can stay healthy, if Trey can stay healthy, they got an intriguing team. They're at least going to be entertaining and interesting going into
Yeah,
2026. So let's turn the
yeah.
page. Let's go to get down the home stretch here. Let's talk about top five for MVP.
One. Just want to
Yep.
make a little side note, man. Out of and of all teams, like they didn't make a move. Um, but I felt like I almost wanted to put them in the loser category because when I look at your roster and I look at how you value these players in your team, it's almost like you can't make a move. You have like untradeable players, and not because they're just like Steph Curry or LeBron James. It's because you don't know they have the potential of being really good, or you don't know. And it's the New Orleans Pelicans, bro.
Oh, I
And
disagree
and and
100%.
no, let me say this, bro. Let me say this. They have a roster right now that one, I mean, they're not good, right? The Pelicans aren't good. Like we know they're not good. But you have a roster where it's like you're not gonna like think about it. You're first of all, you've already showed us you're not moving from Zion. Zion can do whatever the hell he wants. You're not moving on from Zion. Then you have think about all these and if I miss any, look at their roster right now, A1. But if I miss any, name some. Name the young guys. So you have Derek Queen. You're not moving Derek Queen. You're not trading him, right?
Mm-mm, mm-mm,
Fears. You're not trading Fears.
mm-mm, mm-mm.
Sadiq Bey. Are you trading? I know he's a little older. He's like what, 27 or something like that. But I don't think you're moving. Then you have what is it, Trey Murphy?
Mhm.
Yeah, Trey Murphy, another guy who could put up 26 any night. 26 any night. There's another young guy. There's another young guy. Who they got?
Let's see. So they got looking at the roster here. DeAndre Jordan. Jordan Poole's on the squad.
Yeah, but
DeJounte
I'm not.
Murray, he's injured.
I haven't even.
Um,
Those guys you can, but I don't know what you're gonna do with them.
Herb
But I'm talking about
Jones,
the.
they got Herb Jones is on the squad. Hunter
Yeah,
Dickinson, Bryce McGowan's, Micah Peavy's a rookie. Eve Missy, I hope I said that right. He gets some burn for them. Trey Alexander, Jordan Hawkins out of UConn. I mean, they got some interesting pieces. I
but
think that
the guys I mentioned, they won. If you're a GM, what are you doing with those? What are you doing with those guys? Those young
they're
guys I just mentioned.
centerpieces. Listen, I think if anyone's a trade candidate is Zion, and maybe they didn't get the offer they wanted in during the trade deadline, and maybe they explore that in the offseason. Because there was a lot of before the Bulls made a trade, there's a lot of Zion to Chicago smoke I saw out there that people
How
were
many? How many? How
speculating.
many? What is he? Is he? What was he? Year of what? Year five?
Year
Year six?
six, year six,
Year six?
averaging
Come on,
21 and
bro.
6 right now.
And when you watch him, he's still. I'm not gonna lie. He still looks like when you watch him, you're still looking like, yo. I think he can average 30 and he could get 11 rebounds. Like I think he could do that. Like the way he goes downhill. But bro, I'm gonna be honest, bro. Like those guys, like I just think that New Orleans is not gonna let those guys go. And those are the only guys that other teams will look at. They're gonna want those guys, and you're not gonna let them go, bro. You're not gonna let go of Derek Queen.
They shouldn't. And I think the concern with the Pelicans is that they gave the pick they gave up for Derek Queen, right? So they gave up an unprotected first round pick in this year's draft to go get Derek Queen. And so Atlanta's gonna have two picks in the first round, and one of them's going to be like a top, let's just say eight, right? At worst, top six, top eight pick in a loaded draft. And so I think that's why, to me, you explore the trade for Zion. It hasn't
Yeah.
worked. It's not working. You go and trade him. Hopefully, you can pick up a first round pick in this year's draft from a team that has a high lottery pick. And then you can start over with Jeremiah Fears, Derek Queen, and that pick and rebuild your squad. Maybe DeJounte Murray comes back. Maybe you trade him as well because, I mean, you already got Jordan Poole, so that feels like a little bit of
What
doubling your
what's Poole? Is,
assets.
is Poole is Poole hurt right now?
I don't think he's playing. Let
He's
me see. He's
playing.
only.
I don't. Where the hell is he at?
Let me see. Let me see. I don't know if I can click on his. Let's see. Check on news. I think he played. Let me look at the stats. Get the last time he been in a game. Of course, now this thing is not giving me what I need. I don't know. I have to look into it. I'll let you know though, because it's not giving me
Yeah.
his game log. But and I haven't watched the Pelicans game lately, It's been a
I
while
haven't
since I
seen
watched
him.
the Pelicans play.
Yeah.
But nah, but I mean, I understand what you're saying. If they keep Zion, I think they got something interesting. But if they trade him, I think they become infinitely more interesting. You're
Yeah.
right. He has been out for a while.
Okay.
He's been out for a while. All
Okay.
right, so let's look at MVP. Who you got your top five for MVP?
All right, top five, man. And number five, and this is off the top of the head, but this is who I got. I got Victor Wembanyama, bro. Victor Wembanyama, and the reason, first of all, I mean, that's a good pick. I mean, he's been out a little bit, but I think that the Spurs are. I mean, they've proven they're better than OKC. I think that they've proven I mean, OKC won zero smoke with the Spurs, zero smoke with the Spurs. The only reason why I have him at five and not higher, I just think that, I mean, even when he's out, I think the Spurs can win games, bro. And I think those guards, I mean, bro, they just have great players all around. At number
Hold on,
four,
before you keep going. And they just got Jared McCain. That is not fair. I don't know if you remember Jared McCain last year with Philly.
oh,
He
you
was
talking about
playing.
OKC?
Yes.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but
So
yeah,
they
but I don't know, bro. I mean, this is Jeremy McCain post ACL, right? Because you're talking about when what the Jeremy McCain you're talking about is pre the ACL tear, and he was hooping. But post ACL, I got to see it. I got to see him do something before that. Because in Philly, it wasn't like he was like after he came back from the ACL. I don't think he was doing anything crazy, or he wasn't even doing any what he was doing before.
well, he had just came back though,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
right?
So before we use the not fair, for me, I need to see something on the court post ACL.
Torn meniscus, not ACL, by the
Oh,
way.
okay, okay,
Torn
okay, okay,
meniscus.
okay,
I
okay.
had to look that
Yeah,
up.
yeah,
So that's what I'm saying. And in this landscape, torn ACLs are just like it's like having Tommy John surgery. You have it, you come out, and you may
yeah,
not be 100% the player you were, but you are not that far away. And he's super young. That's not fair, bro. I'm just saying it's not fair. But you were saying
yeah.
Wimby.
I have 1B5, and like I said, the only reason why it's higher, I just think that the guards are just really, really talented, and they have a good team. At number four, um, I'm gonna have Jokic, bro. I'm gonna have Jokic, and I was watching the Nuggets without Jokic, and Jamal Murray is gonna. I mean, you set this back in COVID. You think I
Top
don't know if you
10
still hold.
bucket getter in the
I don't.
league.
Yeah, I don't know if you still hold that title in 2026, but in 2020, you were telling me that when him and Donovan Mitchell were going back and forth, and he was going to the Lakers and putting up 45 against LeBron and AD. You did say that, and so when I'm watching him without Jokic, he can still do that. But there's another guy on the Nuggets who I like a lot, bro. Man, he's a small forward.
Hayden
What's
Watson.
the Peyton Watson? Oh my goodness. I'm watching Peyton Watson. I'm like, man, he's like if like Bones Highland met like Mike, like fused with Michael Porter Jr. Like he can hit the three, like and not an offensive weapon like Michael Porter, but he was hitting like he's moving around, he's playing defense. He's like what he had. I mean, just this is just me going off the eye test. He's like what 6'6" maybe? Like he looks that
Yeah,
tall.
yeah.
You know what I'm
He's
saying?
like six, he might be taller than that. I think Peyton
Yeah, he
Watson is
might.
like
Yeah,
6'8",
might
maybe
even be
six
taller than that,
nine.
bro. And he's playing both sides and he's running like I was watching him and Jamal Murray and I was like, man, bro, like he looks really, really good. And so, I mean, Jokic came back, you know what I'm saying? Obviously, I think the only rough game he had was the Pistons, but that was a tough game to come back to, you know what I'm saying? But he ended up putting up a triple double after that. And so, I mean, Jokic is Jokic, you know what I'm saying? So I got him at four. I got three, Cade Cunningham. I think Cade, um, even though I knew that the Pistons were going to be good last year, I think they quote unquote surprised some people and whatnot. And but I think that this year, them being the number one seed, now granted, no Tatum, you people could throw that in there or whatnot. But to me, I think that I mean he's just showing like, yo, he's the man. And even though he doesn't have like he's not like putting up 30 every night, anytime I've watched Cade look at his squad and look up at the scoreboard and say, "Oh, we need a bucket," he could go get a bucket. He go get a bucket, bro. He can go get a bucket. He has the size. He has the court vision, all that stuff. And so I have him at three. Um, and so this is where I'm kind of like doing. I don't know where I want to go with this one, but um, I'm be real, bro. I think I'm gonna go. All right, I'm gonna just go Luca at two. I'm gonna go Luca at two. I kind of want to put him more, but I'm gonna Luca at two. And the reason why I said Luca at two, I know I put this in the chat. I was like, A1, bro, the man is averaging what 39 and 9,
30.
31 and 8. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? 8 and 8. Like I
Yeah.
mean, crazy. Now in the month of January, this is just me from remembering when I was like in the month of January, he was putting up like 34 and something something and doing it on 55% shooting, bro.
Mhm.
55% shooting. And so think about this. He leads the Lakers in every category except rebounds, which he's second in that. Because any given night, Luke go out there and get what, 9 rebounds, 9 boards. And
Yeah.
so I'm
32, 7,
watching
and
it.
8.
And the reason why I have him above Cade is because when I'm watching the Pistons and I'm watching the Lakers, i.e., last night, I watched the Lakers versus OKC. There is a significant, even with now, granted, Reeves is still coming off the bench, but he's still playing starter minutes once he comes off the bench. And Reeves is I know he's still getting acclimated or whatnot because he just came back. But to me, and granted, I also feel the same thing for the Pistons where I don't think nobody else on the Pistons roster is on K's level, but they're just all so good at everything that they're doing that to me, Cade is just surrounded by a lot more talent than Luca, and Luca is just way more valuable. He was playing without LeBron for the first 20 games. He missed Reeves for a lot of games, so he was basically just out there with who? The Japanese three-point shooter, Rui? Get up out of here, A1. Like, give me something else. You're not even putting Don't Connect on there. You got Laravia from I don't know where the hell he came from. Marcus
Grizzlies.
Smart. Marcus Smart is having to go in the hyperbolic time chamber just to give you 10 points a night. You know what I'm saying? Like when I'm watching the Lakers, I'm like, yo, Luca is he has to and granted he does it with ease. I don't think he's like stressing it, but he has to give you 30 a night. He has to give you 30 a night, and he has to give you like 8 assists. So to me, that is why I give him. I almost wanted to put him number one because I also say that to say Shay is up there because it just seems like he is effort, not effort. Like it looks more like effort, but bro, I mean, he just gets 30. Like you, even when you think he doesn't, when you hit the refresh button, you're like, oh, he got 30. Like he just edged it, but he put in 30 off of middies and free throws, and so he's in there. But last night when I watched it, I was watching the game versus the Lakers, and he's not on the court, and Luca's not on the court. And Jalen Williams was on minute restriction. But Jalen Williams, when he was in the game, he took
I'm
over.
getting busy.
The
I'm
last,
getting
the
busy.
last, bro, he came in the fourth. He didn't play, if I correct, and if my memory serves me correct, and I watched that whole second half. He didn't play the last 6 minutes, and he didn't get into the fourth quarter until like the last, like probably under 5 minutes, bro. And he gets in the game A1, and he scores at least like 10 to 11 points, bro, to seal the victory. If not, the Lakers would have won that game because Reeves and LeBron and everybody else was making the right pass, right play, just to go ahead and get and take the lead. But he ended up doing it, and I just think that even though, like I said, I downplayed Chet earlier. I think that him, Lou Dort, Casey Wallace, Alex Caruso last night came off the bench and hit what three, four, five threes. I don't even know. You know what I'm saying? He's playing defense. Those guys can. Everybody on OKC, everybody on OKC can lock up. I mean, I'm not talking about there isn't one person that you can go to. Shea, who is an on-ball, great all defender, he's probably their weakest link, bro. He's probably their weakest link defensively. So to me, that's why I want to put Luke up there. But the only reason why I don't is because the win-loss column is just such a wide gap between the two teams. I think I would be doing the disservice to Shea. And bro, you're the reigning MVP, and you've been putting up the numbers, and so it is what it is. So I got Shea one, Luca two, K three, Jokic four, Wemby five.
Cool, cool. So I respect your list. Like I don't no diss, no slander. Your list is your list, and I rock with that. So I just want to say now, Jokic is not on my list, and not because he's not a great player, but because he is already at the limit of games he can miss. Now, maybe he plays the rest of the season without missing anything, and that would be in a great accomplishment for him. But I have to assume that at some point during this down the stretch, he's going to miss a game for rest.
Oh, he can't even
Hope he
miss
does.
one.
He is at the limit. I think he is at 16 because you can only miss 17 games.
Mm,
So hold on.
wow.
Let me look at their schedule real quick.
Yeah. I
He's
mean, if
either
he
at
gets
16 or
eliminated,
17.
yeah, if he gets eliminated, I'll bump Jalen Brown up. But yeah,
So he's at they play 54 games right now, and he can only miss one more game. He can't he mi- yeah, he can miss one more. He's at 16 games missed. And
mm.
so I just don't know if he's going to get through the rest of the season without missing two more games. So that's why he won't be on my list, right? It's no shade to him. Obviously, if he was at 10 games, he would be top three, easy.
Hmm.
So at number five, I got Luca. No disrespect to Luca
Mm.
and the season he's having. But for me, I do value winning a lot more on this list, right? And so, yes, Luca's having an amazing season. Luca is he's going to be an analytics darling. He's always going to have great advanced metrics. But I value winning. Now, if the Lakers get up to the 4 seed, 3 seed, obviously you're going to have to bump Luca up. So I have him at five. At number four, um, Jalen Brown. I think Jalen Brown deserves a lot of love for what he's done. Again, Jalen Brown, not a huge analytics darling, but he's playing some of the best two-way basketball in the league. And he's got the Celtics right now at the 3 seed. And he is a large reason of that. His usage rate is through the roof. It's a career high usage rate. His efficiency has suffered a little bit because of that, but he's playing great basketball. And
Yeah.
he's got that team playing great as well. At number three, I got Wemby. Uh, the Spurs. I talked about the Emirates Cup, the NBA Cup, being a launch pad for teams, and I had the
Oh yeah.
Rockets. No, excuse me, not the Rockets, the Raptors and the Spurs as teams who could announce themselves as being a playoff contender, and the Spurs have done that. And like you said, they played the defending champs, I think 5 times already. They won 4 of them, right? So I got Wemby at number three. Number two, Cade Cunningham. I feel like Cade Cunningham is not getting enough love. They have the second best record in the NBA, right behind the Oklahoma City Thunder. Um, he plays hard, and I'm going to talk about this in another kind of solo commentary. But I think there you can start the conversation of who would you rather take today, Cade or Luca. And I'm not saying that you should take Cade over Luca. I'm not saying the conversation could be long. It could be really short. Who do you want to take, Cade or Luca? Luca. Next question. Okay, cool. I'm just saying I think that conversation is there for the reasons you mentioned of he's a cone on defense. And Cade, while Cade is not Shea, he's not Shea in terms of the two-way player that Shea is, but he tries on defense. He leads by example on that defensive side for the Pistons of being in the fact that I'm the best player on the team, but I'm also going to make sure I'm playing good help defense, make sure I play good one-on-one defense, and not just let my man blow by. And so I think that he deserves to be number two. And then number one, it's got to be Shea. I
Yeah.
think analytically, he is playing as well, or if not better, from an analytics standpoint as he was last year. They have the number one seed in overall in the league. And look, styles make fights. So I would love to see them versus the Spurs in the postseason. But there's not many other teams where I have trepidation if I say them versus the Nuggets. I think they can beat the Nuggets.
Yeah.
Rockets, Lakers. I think
Yeah.
they can beat those teams. Phoenix. I think Phoenix could give them a run. I think they can beat Phoenix. Right.
Mm.
I think right now the Spurs are the only one I'm kind of looking and going, I don't know. Now, but the only thing I say about that is regular season success does not equal postseason success. So you can't guarantee just because they beat them 4 out of 5 in the regular season doesn't mean they'll do the
Oh
same in the
yeah.
postseason.
Yeah.
So that's my top five. I'm going with Luca. I'm going with Jalen Brown. I'm going with Did I miss one? No. Wemby, Cade, and Shea. So that's my top five.
Yeah. Yep. I'm with it.
All right,
I do
man.
think I
Anything?
do think
Oh, go
Brunson.
ahead, go ahead.
I think Brunson. I mean, what are the next 3 seed?
2 seed now. So
Oh, okay.
they had that little run, little rough 2 week patch.
Yeah.
So honorable mention MVPs. So this is from Sheldon. I think Brunson is one. I think Anthony
Yeah.
Edwards, Tyrese Maxey.
Yeah. Tyrese is up
I'm,
there.
tr- I'm trying
Yep.
to think. Is there anybody else that we're missing? I mean, I throw Jamal Murray in there just because I felt like he helped. I think the Nuggets went nine
Keep
and
them
five without
afloat.
Jokic. Yeah, he helped keep
Yeah,
them afloat. And they're still top four in the West.
yeah. Does KD get any votes for you?
I think so. Absolutely. I think KD doesn't get enough love. Like if we're building out to a
Like, is he
top 10,
top 10?
I think KD's top 10. I think KD's top 10 when you think about MVP.
Yeah.
Trying to think, is there anybody else we're missing there? I don't think so. Yeah, I think that's a good one. Anything else? Real quick, who would you have for coach of the year? I think that's the last topic I had on the board.
Now that I think it goes to the Pistons. Was it BJ? What's his last name? Burgerstaff?
Bickerstaff.
Bickerstaff. And
Bickerstaff.
here's the thing. I thought he should have won it last year.
Mm.
They gave it to Cleveland. They gave it to Cleveland's guy, right?
Yeah, but you gotta remember, Cleveland won like 20 games in a row to start the season. They were the
Yeah,
runaway one
but
seed in the
but
in the East.
but see, to me, that's where the conversation of like, because I got to compare Cleveland and what they did the year before. But bro, Pistons were what, a bottom
They
a
were one of the
bottom
worst teams
feeder
in
the year before,
basketball.
and
Yeah,
then you
yeah.
were, you were what, the seventh seed? I don't know what you feel. You know what I'm saying? Like, you were really really good with that set. And so now I think you got to give it to him, me off of GP, because you didn't get him last year. But I mean, that's another big jump. That's another big jump. You're the best team in your conference, bro. Second best team in the NBA. And probably gonna hold
Yeah.
that position, bro. Unless Tatum comes back and gives you some problems, you know what I'm saying? Boom, catches you. But to me, I don't see the Pistons giving up that number one spot.
That's respect. I think right now JB Bickerstaff has got to be the one seed. I think Joe Mazzulla, I think is to me would probably be second. Oof. You know what? I'm going to take David Adelman for the Nuggets, just a slightly ahead of Mitch Johnson of the Spurs, just for them losing Jokic. They've been a mash unit. I mean, they've had
Yeah.
what Gordon is still. I don't think Gordon came back for like a couple of games and he's been back out the lineup. Christian Brown's been out the lineup. Obviously, they had
Mhm.
Jokic out for a couple of weeks. And so he's been able, more than a couple of weeks, maybe like a month, but he's been able to keep that team afloat and keep that team, like I said, in the top three, top four spot in the West. And so I think that might be my top three. But
Yeah.
you're right. With the job that JB Bickerstaff has done, from where the Pistons were, I think that's fair. I think that's fair.
It's good.
All right. Anything else, man, before we get out of here?
Nah, man, like I said in the beginning of this segment, bro, I think that me and you have, we're constantly pushing like this whole false narrative that the NBA is not a quote unquote good product. You can't, you can only start watching it in June or whenever the playoffs start. Get that crap out of here, bro. I mean, obviously, you get both sides. Like, the hyper fans, they're like, oh, this is the best that the NBA, the best talent that the NBA has ever, like, the players have never been this good. I disagree with that. I hate when people say that. Because it's like, I literally, and the reason why I say that too is I was on Twitter and they were saying it like today players, and me, this is probably the season where I've been like, before when Melo was around, I was watching every Melo game, but I've been watching every NBA. I've been watching a lot of NBA games, and I've just watched everybody. I was just raving about Peyton Watson, but they were just like, man, the players today are just so much more better than. Now, granted, I wasn't watching the '90s A1, but to me, YouTube's free, so you go back and see whatever. But that concept, it depends on what they're saying. If they're saying that like the players in general are just better, I disagree. Actually, yeah, no, 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 no. I mean, I agree with that. But if you're telling me, like, to me, this is when I say that, I think that the best players back then are still probably better than our best players today. Meaning this, if you put Prime
Mm.
Shaq, '01 Shaq in the league, he's still the best player in the league today. '01 Prime Shaq is the best player in the league today. He's better than Jokic today. That's my thing. But what I do think, A1, what I do think, now let me say this. And this is what I'm saying. So when people say that, I'm just like, yo, when we say that players are talented, more talented today, I think that's more of a conversation of the roster number 3 all the way down to 15. Not
Absolutely.
necessarily, not that Kobe, not that Shea is better than Kobe.
Yes.
I do think that Aaron Gordon is better than Derek Fisher though. Do you see what I'm saying? Where
Yes.
yeah, like those players, like player 3, 4, 5, like yeah, Peyton Watson to me is better than Rick Fox. You know what I'm saying? Like that to me is true. But Shea is not better than Kobe Bryant. Like at least when I'm watching it, like Jokic, you're not better than Prime Shaq. Like I mean, there's probably areas in which you are, but I'm
Yeah.
just saying
Yeah. Yeah.
you fit those guys in today. I'm just like yo. So that's why I'm like the talent. Yeah, if you want to start getting into the guys who aren't max players, yeah, but those players. So when I see people saying that, I'm like, yeah, like hold your horses or whatnot. I think that there's great storylines. Me and you, we were talking about storylines before. I think we were even arguing about the Christmas games that happened like beforehand when NBA finally put them out. And I was telling you, I was like, man, I just feel like they could have like set it up a little bit better, but it was still good. I just think day in and day out, bro. The Hornets, bro. The Hornets. Can we show them some love? Like even though they lost that game, um, they lost the game to the Pistons. Even after Miles Bridges and
Musa
who else?
Diabate.
Yeah, two of your starters get kicked out. They were still competing. They were still competing, bro. I think that all the talk about the draft class coming next year, to me, I'm like, whoa, are you even going to be like? Don't get me wrong, like just off the eye test and potential and stuff like that. Yeah, I see it. But are you going to be better than this draft class? Because this draft class, think about the year that Cooper Cup is having to have just to be like the runaway rookie of the year, which we all thought he was going to be. But if Cooper Cup was slacking, Conknuckle,
Super
bro.
flag,
You
but
know
I
what I'm
got you.
saying? Yeah, Cooper
Yeah.
Flag.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cooper Flag. You know what I'm saying? Con over there and Dylan Harper. If he was anywhere else besides San Antonio, he would be averaging 15 a night, bro. Averaging 15, but he's coming off the bench because there's three other guards ahead of him. You know what I'm saying? You have all these rookies or whatnot. I just think that like there's a lot of talent right now, a lot of talent coming in, great storylines. We're trying to see like who's gonna do what. The vets are on their way out, but I mean, we'll see, bro. And I know everybody's like, oh, and then I think the Spurs whooping OKC is letting you know, like, yo, pump the brakes on this whole repeat thing. Pump the freaking brakes on this repeat thing. You got to go through San Antonio, bro. And we're about to see, we'll see what that looks like.
Yeah. Yeah. So let me show some love real quick to this draft class. You mentioned Flag, Harper, Edgecombe, Knipple. Trey
Yeah,
Johnson
VJ.
has
Yeah,
Trey Johnson can shoot. Like I don't know if you've seen him for the
yeah,
Wizards.
yeah, yeah,
He's got a burner on him.
yeah,
Colin Murray Boyles is a nice depth piece for the Raptors. Cedric Coward is playing really
yep,
well for the Grizzlies,
yep,
but he's playing for the Grizzlies, so no one's noticing it. Let me see who else. I mean, Walter Clayton Jr. had one of the dunks of the year. Um,
yeah. He just
Drake
got
Powell.
moved to Memphis.
Yeah, yeah. Nick Clifford, like for the Kings, like there are players here who um are maybe not headliners, but like Ryan Kalkbrenner with the Hornets. Like they're just you go up and down this draft class. There has been some really nice contributions
They're all
from
producing,
top to
bro.
bottom, from top to
Yeah.
bottom. And so yeah, like I'm excited for this draft class. I'm excited for what's to come. Um, here's the last thing I'll say, and I'll shout out to Sheldon because he had this comment. The whole talent conversation is all relative to how the game is played or the trend to how to play the game. I hear what Loso is saying, and I think the nuance on what you're saying is that today's players are more skilled because they have to be right. Like if you're playing the four, you got to be able to not just rebound, but you have to be able to have some sort of jumper on you, be able to defend, rebound. Whereas in the 80s and 90s, your four was just your garbage man in some cases. Like maybe you get a Karl Malone, right?
Yeah.
Maybe you get a Larry Johnson, guys who can Charles Barkley, guys who can do it all. But like mostly your job is to set the screen, get people open, be physical, be tough, and rebound. And I
Yeah.
think that to me, I'll say this. There was more variety in how the game was played back then versus now. It is more homogenous. It's more dribble drive, five out. We're trying to get into the paint, get to the layup, or kick out to the three, right? And so the game is not there's not as much variety. There is variety. I don't want to act like it's not, but it's not as much variety. And there's the skill set. Everyone's trying to do the same things. Everyone's trying to get a bag. And that's just not everybody's thing. It's not everybody. Everybody won't have a bag. And so,
Yeah.
how can you make yourself valuable if you can't? You talked about the opportunity to get shots up. If you can't get 20 shots up a night, how can you make yourself valuable to a team so that you get minutes
Yeah.
and get burned? So, yeah, man, I agree. I think I think it's vice versa. The generational talent could play in any era. Shaq could play now. Obviously, he fits in this era. KD could play in the 2000s era,
Mhm.
or late, 90s, 2000s era, and so on and so forth. So I agree. I agree. So this is going to be a super long blown out. But this is going to be our this week in the NBA segment. So I'll get this. I won't have as many clips and stuff posted, but for those of you who've been rocking with me on this week in the NBA, I did drop. I reran the story I did on tanking just because it was a hot topic based on what was going on with the Wizards, with the Jazz, with other teams who are actively not trying to win to improve their lottery odds. So that is out on the channel right now. So go check that out. This, like I said, this is mid-season report card will be this week's edition of This Week in the NBA. So Loso, I appreciate your contributions. I
Always,
appreciate you
man.
pulling up.
Yes, sir.
Um, that's our time. How do I end This Week in the NBA? I'm trying to think how I do it. That's our time. Before you hit the exit, jump in the comments. Let me know what's the best thing you saw this week in the NBA. What games you're looking forward to. Remember to hit the like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you can tap in to know more about this week in the NBA. And for my guy Ward, in his absence, Loso, appreciate you pulling up. Man, yeah. Y'all have a good week.
All right, man.
Yep. See you.